Hi, Tracy from Cheese Needs. So me and this little cheese have a history. Now, without actually discussing any of the questions on the CCP exam, because we're not permitted to do that, suffice it to say, Ossau Iraty, this little cheese has been on my cheat sheet. So in the run up to the exam, I had, as my phone lock screen for about 2 months, I had written down all of the answers that I knew I didn't know. I had flashcards and I would go through the flashcards, and every time I would go through the flashcards, I would get that one wrong. So I sat the exam. I came out of the exam reasonably confident. Have to admit, I was reasonably confident walking out of those doors. And then I went to get my belongings, including my phone, which obviously you can't take into the test with you. And the very first time I turned my phone on, up comes the lock screen. The center line on my lock screen, Ossau Iraty, Basque region, France, raw sheep. Yeah, I'm in the exam, I'm in a stress situation. My strategy for this exam was go through the test, cross out the number on the question. So question A, blah, blah, blah. If I answered it, I'd cross it out. If I didn't answer it because it had any math, any at all, any math, percentages, numbers, any of that, big old circle around it, leave it, come back to it. Answer the ones I know, and then spend the rest of the time agonizing over the fact that I'm really, really bad at math. Anyway, so I went through and I answered all the questions I know, and I know Ossau Iraty. I've tried it many times. I know it's a sheep's milk cheese. I know it's raw. In the exam, I put down Spain because I remembered Basque region, and my brain, in a stress situation, said, hey, Spain, not France. And I came out of that exam and I looked at my lock screen, and there it was, Ossau Iraty, France. Yeah. So I had a bit of a problem with this cheese. It's not the cheese's fault, it's my fault. But in the 8 weeks that it took them to get our test results to us, I'm sitting there thinking, oh, if I fail this test because of this cheese, I will never forgive it. I won't. I know it's my fault. It's not the cheese's fault, but I'll still never forgive it. I'll never enjoy Ossau Iraty again. Anyway, I passed, which is great. They don't tell you by how many you passed or by how many you failed. They don't say this was the pass mark and you got this. I know I failed that question. I know for sure I got that question wrong. There are a couple of other questions I'm pretty certain I got wrong, but I passed anyway, so it doesn't matter. And I felt bad for the way that I had maligned this delicious cheese. So when I was in Vancouver recently, I stopped off at the Benton Brothers, which is on Granville Island in the market there. Oh, this is a tough cheese. That is one tough cheese. Okay, you can eat this rind. I tend not to eat the rinds. I tend to grate them up and put them in dishes, like cook with them. But you can eat the rind on this one. So I picked myself up a piece of Ossau Iraty to apologise. I'm sorry. I got you wrong. I didn't fail anyway. If you've never tried this, oh man, it smells divine. Get it to room temperature. Seriously, it will pay you if you get it to room temperature. If you're not a big fan of the goat and sheep flavour profile, that tang, then you can eat it a bit colder. But if you want to get your full money's worth out of this cheese, definitely get it to room temperature. There it is. Back of the mouth, that lipase kicks in just at the end. Starts grassy, creamy. There's a nuttiness to it. Getting a faint hint of marigolds. The flour, not the rubber gloves. Yeah, just cracking cheese. French, apparently. So one of the questions on the university module that I'm doing currently regards raw milk and raw milk cheeses and what is the benefit or risk associated. Raw milk cheese is such a different nuanced flavour you're never going to get with store-bought cultures, and I sell store-bought cultures. you're still not going to get that flavor profile, that nuance, that blend that you would get from a raw milk cheese. You just aren't. There are some microbes you just can't recreate in a lab. So it's creamy. There's a hint of marigold. I don't know where that's coming from. There's a hint of marigold in there, and it's really, really cracking cheese. So I'm glad I didn't fail that exam and fall out with it forever. So this is not a cheese that I would give to my kids. My kids have a very tame flavor palette when it comes to cheese. They like Walmart orange stuff. So this is too strong. This is still mild from my point of view, but from my kids' point of view, this would not go over well. So I'm not going to waste the good cheese on the kids who aren't going to enjoy it. I, on the other hand, definitely enjoying it. Oh, and if you're wondering about the super cool shirt, I got this from Cheese 52, Lisa Peterson. It says nacho, obviously, but what it actually is the chemical formula for sodium citrate, which is the chemical that we add to cheese that doesn't melt to make it melty and gooey so that it works for nacho sauce, which makes this even nerdier, and I adore it. I'm sorry, Ossau Iraty. You're a wonderful, delightful raw milk, cheap French cheese.